Jarrod Bowen's contractual situation, I've been hinting at doing this video for the past 3 weeks. Thought I'd do it now because, well, the club seems to have leaked the news about it. I hate it when they do that. It seems to be a little bit newsworthy, and let's be fair, by the time we're into the weekend and next week, we've got European football, we've got a game against Manchester City. It's probably nothing's going to get resolved. I wanted to shy away from it for a little bit as well because I think there's a lot of... I think there's a false narrative attached to this story as well, and it's a thread that we've seen running all the way through the summer. One which I've got to hold my hands up and say I was fooled by myself, and so I'm a little bit reluctant to buy into it. That saying go about fool me once, fool me twice. So I just want to try and deal with what we know. Here's what we do know. We do know that the club have offered Jarrod Bowen a contract. It's not the first one. They've been negotiating with Jarrod Bowen for a little while. So that's what we do know. And at this point, Bowen hasn't signed a contract. That's all we know. That's it. So I want to try and separate the rumour from the fact. Here's what the rumour is, by the way. 2 big ones, as far as I can tell. Firstly, that Jarrod Bowen will not sign a contract because he does not want to play under David Moyes. The second part of the rumour is West Ham have offered him a very low offer. The first part of that rumour I'll deal with in just a second. The second part of the rumour that West Ham have only offered him a very low offer has prompted quite a reaction, actually. It's a reaction of a lot of people saying online, what's wrong with West Ham? Why don't West Ham just basically allow him to write his own cheque? Why don't West Ham offer him a decent amount of money? And I find that very, very difficult to believe, actually. It's clearly quite false. There's no way, we don't know the facts, but there is no way West Ham have not tried to make Jarrod Bowen one of their top earners. So when I start reading stuff online saying things like, why don't West Ham offer him over 100 grand a week? That's a hell of an assumption to think that we haven't. I'm pretty damn sure we have. I don't know for certain, but I'm damn sure West Ham have offered Jarrod Bowen between 100 and 150,000 pounds a week. So you start to wonder, where are these other figures coming from? Anyway, we'll deal with that a little bit later on. The other thing, which is he's not going to sign a contract because he doesn't want to play under David Moyes. Let's get something right. David Moyes has been a really, really good manager for Jarrod Bowen. So again, I find that a little bit difficult to believe. There are some players who do not thrive under David Moyes' system. That much is really clear. I name them, and I've named them regularly. But Jarrod Bowen's certainly not one of them. If anything, it has been an absolute success story. He is tailor-made to play under David Moyes, actually, I think, in many respects. And also, I've got to say, there's been times when certainly, something that Gio pointed out as on numerous occasions, he's almost undroppable. He's guaranteed to start under David Moyes. And even when he's been in quite bad form, Moyes has still picked him. So, that's a little bit more difficult to believe that that's the case. There's also this whole thing, any negative news has to have David Moyes' name attached to it. And it's a sort of thread that was running through all the way through the transfer window, if you remember. And it's made me a little bit reluctant to believe everything that I hear. Whilst I do believe that Bowen has rejected the most recent contract, I believe that. The thing about he won't sign whilst David Moyes is in charge, I'm not quite so sure about that, because I'm reluctant to it, because we heard all throughout the summer David Moyes was being blamed for everything. Anything that wasn't happening at the club was David Moyes' fault. Even not just at the club. I'm surprised he wasn't blamed for the wildfires, quite frankly. He was being blamed for everything. So when West Ham hadn't signed any players at the start of the window, it was because David Moyes was dithering and couldn't make any decisions. We now find out that absolutely it was because we didn't have the Declan Rice money in yet, and we know that because we've just taken out a credit agreement with Barclays Bank. Basically, we have borrowed money as an overdraft from Barclays Bank based on the money coming in next season for the Premier League money and the money we have been promised by Arsenal for Declan Rice. We couldn't actually, it's really clear we couldn't have spent money at the start of the window. But that was blamed on David Moyes. So we know that's not true. Financially, in the books, you can see that is not true. What else did we hear? We heard that West Ham won't be able to sign any players because nobody wants to play for David Moyes. Remember that one? No one wants to play for David Moyes. Well, again, it wasn't true. We've signed loads of players, haven't we? That one I was less inclined to believe, because I thought West Ham were far more attractive than many people gave us credit for. You know, London-based club, we pay high wages, which again, why would we not? Why would we offer Jarrod Bowen low wages with regular European football? So that's what the perception will be over on the continent. And of course, we've just won a trophy. I think in many respects, there's probably not been a better time for West Ham to try and attract players to sign. Another one which we heard, which was the transfer committee couldn't get on. With the transfer committee was David Sullivan, Mark Noble, and Tim Steiter, and nobody could get on with David Moyes. David Moyes was scuppering everybody. We couldn't sign anyone. It was his fault. He was falling out with everybody, if you remember. Sort of turned out not to be true. And I mean, the other one we heard was Tim Steiter. David Moyes was so hard to work with that Tim Steiter was going to leave. He'd just joined West Ham, but he was going to leave. He found him frustrating, couldn't work with him. He was going to depart straight away and go back to Germany. In fact, this is what we heard. Tim Steiter would rather be unemployed than work for David Moyes. This was all strong stuff, really, really strong stuff. Little did we know at the time, when all that was going on, when those rumours were happening, actually Tim Steiter was looking for and putting a deposit down on a house at that exact time when that rumour was going on. So, you know, he's actually far from it. He's been, he's been putting down his roots here. So there was a lot of stuff, and there was a lot of stuff regarding individual players, which just makes me think a little bit, hold on a second. Just hold on a second. You know, it's an easy one. It's an easy stick to beat David Moyes with. So I'm not so sure that that's the case, and I'm just a little bit more reluctant to believe everything I hear right now. As far as concerns Jarrod Bowen is one of West Ham's best players. He really is. The counter-argument to all that is that Jarrod Bowen's going because of David Moyes, is that there's the other extreme is Jarrod Bowen's staying. There's no way Jarrod Bowen play for anyone but for West Ham. He's had the twins with Danny Dyer. He's settled in Essex. People often say his father-in-law would kill him, meaning Danny Dyer Senior, would kill him if he dared to leave West Ham. I'm pretty sure that's not the case either. I'm quite sure that they'll go wherever's best for Jarrod's career, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to do what's right for them and do what's right for their family. That being said, I do think it's probably beneficial for Jarrod Bowen to stay at West Ham. The big rumour, of course, is Liverpool. Liverpool want him, and so I think, a bit of mischief making is he's going to run his contract down. He's going to move to Liverpool either in the summer or in a year's time for nothing. I'll say year's time, sort of 18 months' time, something like that. Anyway, isn't it? Not summer 2024, be summer 2025. That's when his contract runs out. So there is that. Jarrod Bowen at Liverpool, I think you put 2 and 2 together, and maybe you're coming up with 4, maybe you're coming up with 7. I don't know. Again, the rumour is that Mo Salah's going to move to Saudi and Jarrod Bowen's going to take his place. Well, maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I think, there's no guarantee. And this is something, again, that Gio's point, there's no guarantee he's going to be a starter for Liverpool. You start every game for West Ham, doesn't mean you start every game for Liverpool. Do I think he could play for Liverpool? Yes, I do. There's a motivation from Jarrod. What's he going to think about it? He probably wants to get it's not his England place, because I don't think he had it for long enough, but he'll have had a taste, he'll have a sample of the England squad, and he'll want to get back into that England squad. There's no doubt about that at all. Is he best served at Liverpool? I think he probably is. However, he did get into that England squad whilst he was at West Ham. So, Gareth Southgate does look at players at West Ham. I don't think Bowen's problem is so much to do with West Ham. West Ham are playing regular European football. We are, over the last 3 or 4 years, we've spent more time than not in the top half of the league. I think his problem is probably more the competition for places there and the amount of good players that England have. So I think that's as much of a problem as anything else. It may well be it's got a Gareth Southgate-shaped problem. If Southgate's going to pick people, well, I don't think there's any secret. Gareth Southgate's not picking people in form. He's picking his favourites, irrespective of whether they're playing football or not. Not really anything to do with a contract at West Ham. I think that's got to be the case. Maybe, just maybe, it's none of those things. Maybe it is just to do with money. Maybe Jarrod Bowen, but this is the thing, I don't hear this reported too much. Maybe Jarrod Bowen is happy at West Ham. Maybe he wants to stay at West Ham. Maybe just wants more money. And this, I mentioned Gio for a third time in this video, but it's true. It was perceptive what he said. What he said was, this is where David Sullivan coming out and publicly saying on Talk Sport at the end of last season that Declan Rice was leaving and we couldn't do any more because we'd offer him 200 grand a week. This is where it comes back and bites West Ham on the arse. This is where it hurts the club, because maybe, just maybe, whilst people are thinking we've offered Jarrod Bowen a derisory amount, maybe we haven't. Maybe we've offered Jarrod Bowen something like 135 grand a week, which seems like a lot of money, right? Maybe we have offered him as much as Chicharito earned, or whatever, more than Kurt Zouma, who's the top earner at 125 grand a week, or whatever. Maybe we have offered to make him the top earner. But maybe, just maybe, that's not enough for Bowen. Maybe Bowen's saying, well, hold on a second. I see your 135k a week, and I raise you. Maybe he's quoting what David Sullivan has said. Maybe he's quoting and saying, well, hold on, you were going to offer Declan Rice 200 grand a week. Where's mine? So it might just be that. Truth of the matter is, we don't know. We absolutely don't know. But I would be mindful about having too much mischief making about he doesn't want to play under David Moyes. They didn't look an unhappy pairing when they did a press conference together recently. Sat next to each other, and he heaped a lot of praise on David Moyes. Jarrod Bowen said he was underappreciated. Said, wasn't sure that any other manager could have won a trophy at West Ham, under the circumstances and everything. So, yeah, either the rumours are complete and utter bollocks, or Jarrod Bowen's a really good liar and he was acting all the way through that press conference. I mean, one of them's more believable than the other. Maybe he's doing well playing for West Ham. Maybe he enjoys playing for the team. I wouldn't suggest that he doesn't like. I bet he doesn't like tracking back all the time. But what team are you not going to track back if you're a winger? I don't know. I think even the teams that we perceive to play really good football, like Liverpool, like Brighton, maybe, they all have to work really hard. They all have to press. They all have to defend. So I'm not so sure. Maybe, just maybe, he'll be liberated a little bit more by Mohamed Kudus, and maybe Jarrod Bowen's the second choice striker behind Mikel Antonio. Maybe that's the case. I really don't know. But what I do know is this: all the rumours about a failing West Ham transfer strategy have proven to be utter bollocks, really, to use that word again. So I don't want to lose Jarrod Bowen. I really don't. I want to keep Jarrod Bowen. I think he's a hugely important player for West Ham. I think he's perfect for us, and I think we're perfect for him. And I hope West Ham can offer him a contract that he deems worthy of his ability, and I hope we can continue to find a place for him in the first team whereby he can continue to score goals and look as good as he is currently, which is absolutely amazing. However, I will tell you this much: I don't believe that West Ham need to have a gun held to their head on this one either. Because if the worst did happen and we did lose Jarrod Bowen, and I think the club have already proven that if someone's about to run down their contract like Declan Rice and is clearly not going to sign a new deal, then we will harvest the money when we can. And it actually gets to next summer, and Jarrod Bowen has a year left, and we still haven't got him to tie him down to a new deal, and he's still saying he's not going to sign. And someone comes in, I don't know what you'd pay for Jarrod Bowen, 40, 50, 60 million, whatever it is. I think if we had to take that, otherwise he was going to leave on a free, I think we would take it. And if we did, am I confident that West Ham, given the way we've recruited very, very recently, could go out armed with 40, 50, 60 million pound and find a damn fine winger who can score goals? I think we could.